because the president is on the phone. She's not looking at the screen.
Oh, I am looking at the screen. I'm just like, I don't have
Okay,
control.
well, if you're looking at the screen, you can just go ahead and walk through it. I will write down some notes because I don't have the Word document up.
Mhm.
So if you want to go ahead and go through it, that's fine. Perfect.
Okay, so I am here. Mr. Hargrove is not here.
Okay, I just admitted someone else. Hello.
Hello.
That's Dinah.
Okay, Dinah. Thank you very much. The president is about to go through the agenda. And as soon as we get to new business, we're going to introduce everyone. And then Ms. Brogdon is going to do a piece. And then we'll go from there, okay?
All right.
Okay, Ms. President.
I just remembered the last time I was on, didn't we agree that we would start doing the roll call thing last?
Well, legally, the roll call for the officers present, he has to go first in order to conduct business.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just the officer present, the 1 through 6.
I don't see Miss Jada's name up there anymore.
Jada's on.
It's there. It's
she's under number 6.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. You're on your phone. That's your screen is a little bit different.
Yes. Okay, so Mr. Hargrove is not here.
Right, I
Miss
got that.
Douglas is not here.
Okay.
Um,
I did speak to her earlier in the week, just so you know. She was working on her finals as well and working on her work schedule. So hopefully she's finished the finals. She may have had to work. So I just wanted to bring that up on the record.
I totally understand. Finals kicks just everything out of you.
Okay.
Miss Meyer Pierce.
She's working.
Okay. Miss Cosby is here. Mr. McWilson is here. Miss McCulley, not here. Mr. Warren, also not here. Miss Martha Brogdon is here. Could you scroll down a bit, please?
Yes.
Miss Hodge.
She hasn't come on yet, so she's not here. I'll remark her because she came on late last time.
Okay. Mrs. Pierce.
No.
Okay.
Okay, second page.
Okay, so budget, finance report, bank balance after payments.
I spoke to Mr. Wally Saladin in terms of the bank account. He was over at the bank making sure that for our next meeting, he can actually come on and kind of explain some things. One of the things in your reactivation packet for national, there is an assessment of $75, which I think we approved earlier on. So on Tuesday of this week, there's a full document for assessment. And what I'm going to do is go over with him. And Martha, I'll call you because you'll see what's going on. But everything has been set up so it can only be done online.
Okay.
They've just changed everything. They don't want paperwork. They actually want it done online. So there is about a 20 or 30-minute explanation from the National Director of Finance on how to go about doing the assessment. And then once we do it, we'll put it online so we have it at the next meeting. But there's for youth units, it's $75 for the youth unit. I believe that's already been done. Otherwise, they'll advance it and then bring it as an expense the next time around. But that's already been taken care of. The amount that's still in the account is the amount that was left after the expenses that were paid last month. Memberships, the host for the website, and I think there were 2 or 3 other. The $60 for the mail-in to the members. All that's been done. and that was the balance.
Mm.
Okay, so is either of the parents online?
Yes, this is Miss Pierce. Can
Hi,
you hear
Ms.
me?
Pierce. How are
Okay,
you?
I'm okay. You know, I always be having little technical difficulties, but I'm
I
here.
know, I explained that up front, so I had not marked that, but I will go ahead and mark that as a yes. I know Ms. Hodge had the same problem last time, so it's just good that you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time.
No problem.
Madam President, I do not clearly understand, and because the election is not over yet, and they're still looking at political actors, and Facebook and Twitter, and all of them are on extraordinary security. That's the only thing I can think that could be the problem of you coming on as an administrator.
Okay.
So I would suggest that by the time we get to the 3rd, that we use the month of January to try and get some sort of a breakthrough. And just so everyone knows what we're talking about, the Facebook, the president will be the co-administrator for that. The Facebook page, the website page, Ms. Cosby, who is online, will speak to us about that later. Instagram Vice President Douglas has that, and we'll set up a Twitter once we get someone to take the lead on that. But those things are already in place, and so those will be shared with you as we go along. And also on number 7, Madam President, we can do that after the 1st of the year.
Okay.
Now that you've taken your finals. Number 8 goes along with the reactivation package, which I did send out already. On the number 9 is already complete. All membership renewals are complete, and they should be receiving their membership card sometime either in January or February. And the secretary, I'll be talking to her about making a call to National, because they can actually give her a report. They can't give it to me. Only the secretary can get that report by putting in a call to National. And I do have that contact information, and then she'll be able to report back.
In regards to number 10, did you get my text message that I sent to you about needing more ink?
I did. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And just so everyone knows, that the Youth Leadership Council does have its own Zoom. Right now, there was a decision not to pay for a full Zoom, so there's a 40-minute time limit. So this one, the Family Empowerment is donating the time so that we can do a full Zoom. But anytime there needs to be a short meeting of 40 minutes or less, actually the president or one of the officers can actually have side meetings, and there is a Zoom with a password and all that. That's already ready. Okay. Any questions so far? Anyone?
Is there anyone in the running for the treasurer?
Not
Any
yet.
potential?
Not yet.
Okay.
We may know some of that today because someone might be. So can we go back up to number 4 under old business?
Mm-hmm. Miss
Yeah.
Jada.
Miss Cosby?
Yes.
Um,
I'm sorry, we're on the webpage.
yes.
I don't have anything to report just yet. Hopefully this week I will have time to do something.
Okay. All right. No problem. I understand school's been where it is. We did have this discussion, just for the record. Ms. Cosby and I did have a discussion. We did go through, there weren't a lot of things that she wanted to change. President Ferguson, now that you have got your stuff over, the two of you may want to have a conversation in case there's something that you would like for her to change that she has not seen.
Okay.
Okay, that that can be an off the cuff because both of you have access and can look at it to see what needs to be updated. You can also ask, once we get to the new members, for them to look and see if is easy for them, and if they have any recommendations, they can get those back to council. So we do have a couple of new members on. James, I spoke to on yesterday. So James, if you would introduce yourself first.
Hi, I'm James Cottle.
And give us a little info, James.
Um,
What grade are you in? What school do you attend?
I am in 10th grade. I attend Camel High School.
Okay.
And
Anything else we need to know?
I'm dedicated. That's about it.
Oh, well, all right.
Well, very good, James. We're really glad to hear that. That's going to be, that'll be a big deal. Very, very good. Thank you. And our next new member, is it Dana?
Dinah.
Dinah?
Hi, my name is Dianara Robinson Jennings, but I do go by Dinah. I'm 13, I'm in 8th grade, and I go to Lakeview Junior High.
Okay, great. Well, glad to have you both aboard, and your membership. Ms. Brogdon and I had already talked about it. The Family Empowerment Institute is sponsoring them and has already sponsored them. Their memberships have already, reports already been sent in, so they'll be getting a membership card as well. And as you can see on the new business, there were a couple of things, and I started talking to the president about this at the beginning. I had gotten a call from Dr. Jackson down in Columbus. And because each of the cities in the state could not do Kwanzaa this year, she asked me if everyone knew about Kwanzaa. And I said, well, that is something I would have to check with the team about. And I did, talk to Ms. Brogdon about it. And she said that she was well aware of it. And so in your actual email, let me go to the email again and bring that up. But I think I actually put it in the email itself, so everyone would be able to see what the principles were. Let's just see here. Yeah, here it is. Let me just share this. And I think I'm just going to let you take over once I put this up. Let me get it up here. So the issue is what, why, where, all this is. What do you know you don't know? How it can be helpful. I had a leadership academy in San Diego. It took the top spot in the nation. And part of that had to do with they used what's called 3-7. One was the 7 principles of the New Kasaba. One was the 7 habits of highly effective people for business. And the other one was the 7 senses that we all have, not just 5. We have 5 given senses according to the Creator. You're right now trying to get education sense, which is why you're going to school. And that's another kind of sense that you are now getting, learning about and how to use the first 5. And number 6 is the one thing that we hope you will come up with, having received all that, is you will have common sense. And common sense can be really important once you get your pre-K through 16 or pre-K through 18 done. But ultimately, you're going to need some common sense. And that's in short supply in a lot of places. And it's that common sense that rounds out the 7. So with that, I'm going to turn this part over on the Nugasaba and the celebration of Kwanzaa to Ms. Brogdon.
All right. I wanted to start it with a little bit about where Kwanzaa came from. Most Africans were forced to come to America against their will, and they came as slaves. Slaves were bought and sold, and people were treated like possessions. Many families broken, and people lived their whole lives without hope of freedom for themselves or their children. Kwanzaa celebrates the need to know about the past and to create a more positive future. After years of slavery, segregation, and the struggle for civil rights and justice, Black people in the United States wanted to rediscover their roots and take pride in their African ancestry. Kwanzaa celebrates the Black community and the unity and triumph of Black people. So I thought I would start with that, and then let's go. Let's talk about it. So we celebrate Kwanzaa from December 26th through January 1st. And each day we join our family and friends to light a special candle. We think about what it means to be a part of the Black community in America and in the world. We celebrate our ancestry. Kwanzaa was created in 1966 during the Black Power movement to honor African-American people and our struggle in the United States, our heritage, and our culture. The name Kwanzaa means first fruits of the harvest. During Kwanzaa, we gather together to give thanks for the harvest, which brings us the good things of the earth. We remember the past and our ancestors who worked the earth, and we celebrate hope and promise for years to come. All right. A little bit about Africa is a huge continent. It has many countries, many people, and many different languages. The words we use to celebrate Kwanzaa come from the Swahili language. Swahili is spoken mostly in East and Central Africa, but you can hear it in places all over the world. About 35 million people speak Swahili. If you want to greet someone in that language, you should say Jambo. That's our hello in America. Can I hear everybody? Can I hear a hello?
Jumbo.
All right. Thank you. Before the celebration begins, they decorate their homes with the colors and symbols of Kwanzaa. The colors are red, black, and green, and you can use wall hangings, African cloth, and special artwork. You can buy decorations, but it's more fun to make them for ourselves. Creativity is one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, so it's nice when we use our imaginations. In our decorations, we include many important symbols of Kwanzaa. There is a mat called a mkeka, and I hope that's the correct pronunciation, on our tables, and you arrange a fruit basket filled with fruits and vegetables on the mkeka to represent harvest. Ears of corn are placed on the mat, one for each child in your family. The kikombe cha umoja, or unity cup, is placed there as well. Most important is the kinara, the special candle holder, and the 7 candles that it holds. 1 black in the center, 3 red, and 3 green. Let's talk about what those candles represent for us. On the 26th of December, we light the first candle of Kwanzaa. It is the center black candle. That black candle stands for the unity of Black people. Unity means standing together and helping each other. Over the next 6 days, we will light 6 more candles, 3 red and 3 green, 1 on each day. The red candles on the left side represent our past. We remember our ancestors, many of whom were brought to this country as slaves. We think of their struggles and their triumphs. The green candles on the right stand for our future hopes and dreams for the future of our people. All right, so each day we will light another candle. Let's talk about the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Umoja, which is unity, striving for togetherness with our families and communities. Gemma, I'm going to ask you how to pronounce the second one because I'm not sure how it's pronounced and I don't want to be sounding crazy.
Well, Kujichagulia.
Oh, yeah, I would have really messed that up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just so that so that our youth council know, I'm a Kemetic Africologist. So I study from 7,500 years back to present, and I'm also Dogon, which is a group that comes out of that, and that is where I was adopted into the Dogon ethnic group. So that's the only reason I'm a little bit better at it, because I've been immersed in it for a long time. So Kugachakalea is hard to say, but it is very important because it's what you are doing right now. You're determining your future, what school you're going to go to, what you're going to be, how you're going to live your life, how you go forward in that green section of the candle, because basically you are the future that we're looking to take over as we go forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Number 3, Ujima, which stands for work and responsibility. We should work together to build and strengthen our communities. Ujama
Yes.
is for cooperation, building and supporting African American stores and businesses and benefiting from them together as a whole. We have to learn to do that with our people. NIA stands for purpose, setting personal goals to make your community strong. That's something that we have to work on as a unit because we do not do that, and it's important that we do that. Kumba is for creativity. All of us, that is something God gave us naturally. We are just a creative people. And so we should use it to think of ways to make our community and the world a better place. Leave your mark. Think about that. What can you create? What can you do to make this world better for the future generations? Because that's what we're looking forward to from you all. And then I think the most important is Imani, which stands for faith. Believing in ourselves, our parents, our communities, and the people around us. Faith it has to be strong because it's looking at our leaders and the righteousness of our struggle, because we are definitely still in a struggle. So our faith is what is going to bring us through that. So those are our 7 principles. So let's talk about on the 6th day or night of that holiday. Now we're talking food, which, we love food. They have a great feast called the Karamu. They dress in clothing and bright colors to display the patterns and colors of Africa, have drumming, music, and dance, and we sing and welcome as many people as we can. And of course, we eat. January 1st is the last day of Kwanzaa, and it is a quieter time. We have a farewell ceremony for Kwanzaa, and we greet the new year. It is time to focus on the things we have learned, give our gifts, and remember our roots and the traditions of our ancestors. We think of our struggles, we think of their struggles, and we talk about our hopes for the future. It's about remembering our roots. We wish for strength, and we wish to be united as one people to work together to make the world better for those to come in the future. We hope to preserve the good things in our lives and in our world. We hope to make the world a better place. And we're depending on the next generation to do that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I know from an artistic standpoint that you are working with, is it Dana and James?
Dinah, James, and Lene. They're all part of my team.
I know. So I'm going to ask them to kind of give us their take on a few minutes of their take on what they've learned from you in relationship to this if they don't celebrate Kwanzaa, I have not heard this before, to give us their take on what you've said.
Can I ask a quick question before we do that?
Sure.
In what order do we light the candles? Is it like black, red, green, black, green, red, black, red, black, green, green?
Black, red, green, black, black, red, green, red, green, red, green.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, very good. That's a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone else? James?
When did this celebration begin?
1966. They started it here in the United States.
And the important things about Kwanzaa that she brought up before is an attempt here in the United States to celebrate celebrations that have been going on for eons. You can go back, I'm all the way back to 7,500 years before, to the Kemetic dynasty, in the Kemetic culture. And you have the Asante, you have the Zulu, you have the Hausa, you have the Fulani. So just like you have people that are French or British or Swedish, you have those types of ethnic groups, multi-ethnic groups within our particular African diaspora. But within this particular one, if you look at what they're doing in terms of Central and South America, there are over 100 million Black African descendants in Central and South America, and they celebrate at their African culture. There's some cities with as many as almost 300,000 African descendants, and they make up 80 to 90% of the city. So Kwanzaa here in the United States was an attempt to get back to those things that are very important for us. Dinah?
It's not a question, but I just wanted to say that I do think that it is very important because it does, one, help people, especially like me, I didn't even know about this, learn more about Black culture. And I think it's just a great thing to celebrate our ancestors. Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, thank you so very much. Martha, I'm really glad that you were able to go over this with our youth and make it a part of the council's understanding within this time frame. There's a lot of celebrations going on of different faith, of different groups, and this just happens to be the one that gives us some ability, 7 principles that we can use as we also respect everyone else's way of doing things. But all of this was taken away from our ancestors as we were brought into this country, as Ms. Brogdon said. You could not celebrate anything. You could not read, write, or whatever. And this is really the importance of unity. It's the importance of the faith and the unity of purpose and Nia, the self-determination in terms of Kukuchakalia. So all that self-determination is what you have now and what you're going to take in the future, which is what's going to make it better. And that's the whole reason for you having your own NAACP Youth Leadership Council, where you can actually come together and make decisions. And so I thank you, and I thank Ms. Brogdon for taking the time to bring this to us and letting us know some of the things that we may not know, and we can follow through in the coming year as she becomes a part of the council of advisors to you as you run your own organization. So Martha, welcome. I welcome the parents every week. And by the time we hit January, we're going to be ready to go. Everything should be activated. Our letters should be out. Our unit number is unit 3806. It is independent from the adult unit. It has its own website. It has its own Facebook page, has its own Instagram council. And as it stands right now, we have approximately 50 members in total around the city. So I think building on that and expanding out of that. And as the president said before, we're looking for an acting treasurer before we get to an election. So either one of you talk to your parents and see if you can fulfill a leadership role. And we'll be more than happy to entertain that at our next meeting on the 20th. So again, Martha, you want to say, you want to say something about the word Harambe within this context?
Look, because of COVID, we can't do anything. Harambe is, of course, it's a type of dance.
Right.
And that would be so up my alley because of my theater background.
Well, I thought
we would have been doing something.
I thought I would bring it up so the next time you could actually build the Harambe dancers into it. And
yes, I would love to. I mean, because it would be really nice next year, hopefully, if we get back to some normalcy in this madness. We would be able to do, an evening of about all of this.
Right.
Because so many of our people do not know about it.
Right.
And it's important, like you said, it is important that our youth learn these things, and they're the ones that are going to carry the tradition, because we've all, we're all brainwashed with the Santa Claus tradition, which don't get me wrong, because I'm a Christmas nut, but I know who brings stuff to my house, and he ain't in the real. But okay.
Right.
If I may interject with a question.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, one, I think it's really cool how, all 7 of them come together to basically create love. Like those are the baselines of what you need to build a strong community, a family, and all that stuff. And what my question was that why did they choose those specific vegetables and fruits to represent those things in the family and all that stuff?
Well, one of the things that I have had the opportunity, I was involved with both my son and my mentee. I took them to what is known as a scholars symposium. And so people such as Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Theophile Mbongo, Chinwezu, Asa Hilliard, Malani Karenga, they all came together, and part of it was, as was stated earlier, part of it is knowing the Swahili words and then understanding what those words mean. And they're not in a particular order in your life. They're in a particular order for presentation. So if in the way you look at things, you first think of your faith, you then think of your purpose, you then think of your self-determination. So it's a way you can turn those to whatever fits into your life. And as I said at the very beginning, one of the things that I most certainly want to get out, especially the new year, is the 3 7s, the 7 habits of highly effective people, because you're going to have to deal in the business world. You're going to have a bank account. You're going to have to not have a bank account, but you're going to have a bank account, whether it's in a real bank or whether it's in under your mattress. You're going to have a bank account because you have to pay rent, you got to get a car, you got to buy food. And so you're going to be in the economic area. So that's the Ujima area, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and the profit from them together. So each time, and whatever it is you're going to do, somewhere within the context of that, it's contained within these 7 principles. And so it's up to you independently to order things in your life. Now, if you look at the symbols to the left, each of those symbols, if you look them up, they have a specific African meaning from a specific African ethnic group. So it's not just things that you see. These are actual things from the continent itself, and actually ethnic groups on the continent itself. So that's a very important question. But again, it's all going to come back to each of you and your self-determination, how you live your faith and what you see as your purpose. And how you order those in your life will make the difference. Go ahead.
But what about the vegetables? Like, why did they choose those specific? Like, why the corn for the children? Why the pumpkin? Why the squash?
Tradition. When you go to, when you start looking at the foods, in the African culture, each culture has, each ethnic group within that culture has certain things that are very important to that group. But in the overall sense, it's really about the harvest. So it could be different fruits, it could be different vegetables that you're actually using. But the idea is you're bringing together, I would say it's more similar to what would be in the American culture, a potluck. What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table for the children? What do you bring to the table for the adults? You wouldn't bring vodka for the children to the table. I'm just saying, you might bring Kool-Aid, and you might bring your soda, but you wouldn't bring vodka. And so I'm just saying the things that you choose as you look into the culture, as you look into Swahili, as you look into the Ashanti, as you look into the Fulani or the Twi, the Zulus, the Hausas, these are all ethnic groups on the continent, more than 1 billion people right now. So you can actually look some of those things up, which we will be doing as we go forward.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so don't get tied to just what's on the screen of what someone has chosen. It is really about the coming together to celebrate your history, your culture, and especially what I call, and I had to learn this myself, I wanted to know the history of our people pre-Greek, pre-Rome, pre-Ab, pre-Persia. I wanted to know all that. And that's what I learned first. When I went back that far, I became a very clear person in my head about my purpose and my determination about what I wanted to do. And I think that'll come up in your future as you go along, because you won't necessarily get it pre-K through 12. You may not get it pre-K through 16. So some of this is going to be your determination to find out about your past as it relates to our people. So you're talking about peoplehood versus personhood. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Dana and James, I am excited that you are aboard. And thank you so much for getting on the line today. The meetings are normally 4:30. We have one on the 20th. That will be the last one for the year. And then it'll be on the 3rd. There's an email that will go out. If you go on the website and just join there, your email address will be sent. So you'll go on the list and it'll automatically be sent to you. So you can keep up with what's going on. Okay. Madam President?
Yes.
Do we need a motion to close the meeting, or do you have any other questions?
I will motion to end the meeting.
Second.
All right. Was that Ms. Cosby?
Brogdon.
Okay, Ms. Bartons is second. It is so moved, so second. And we can close the meeting with a very good meeting. And we're done in less than 45 minutes. So again, we had a lot of stuff done. Normally our meetings are what, Madam President, about 30 minutes, unless there are questions and other issues. In the new year, we will have something from everyone, from the mayor to the president of the council, president of the Chamber of Commerce, a whole list of people that we will have present themselves and what they do, so that the team, the council, is on their radar screen in terms of what they're doing. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you much. Everyone
All
have a
right.
good,
Thank you.
safe holiday, and we will see you.
All
Be
right.
safe.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Watch the next video. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. No, I'm just joking, family. Family, thank you for joining us. Be sure to catch us on the next video, family. Peace. Watch the next video. Watch.
What's happening, Miss Tiandra? How you feeling today?
Habari Gani.
Habari Ghani.
What's
More
going on,
appropriate.
Quincy?
It's that time of year again.
It is. It
Yeah.
is an opportunity for us to focus in on the Nguza Saba.
Right. And
And
in a very
be,
special year. Yeah. Let's see.
yes, this is very necessary for us to be aligned again and refocused and recentered. Yeah.
Yeah. So I look forward to conversation. What are we talking about today? You know, I think we talked about just having a conversation and sharing some of our thoughts. So you want to kind of let people know what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah. So thanks to Brother Kwame, he charged us as representing the warriors for having a conversation about the story of Gye and how the Kemetic principles, the Nguza Saba, and some other interests of ours relate to who we are and what our purpose is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just continue with that theme. Ever since I met Hatem and just had opportunity, we call it wisdom mining, you know, just trying to find new profound ways to navigate the journey. You know, we all trying to figure out ways to just be better versions of ourselves. So this is how we get better.
That is it. And here consistently for the past, couple years, every time we have the opportunity to phone or in person, it's always an opportunity for wisdom mining that I'm very grateful for.
Absolutely. Likewise.
So, you want to get started?
Sure.
First and foremost, can you just give us an overview of some of the Kemetic principles? Just touch on it a little bit so we can lay the landscape a little.
Absolutely. So the Kemetic principles is like an Egyptian teaching a tool, you might say, just a observation of things, kind of similar to the Nguza Saba, to the laws of Ma'at, to what do we call it? The Yoruba tradition. There's just so many different things from ancient wisdom sources that just, it's almost as if our ancestors knew that we were going to be lost, and they gave us so many ways to find ourselves. So the Kemetic principles, there's actually 7 of them. Actually, I don't even have them all put up. I'm not even going to go in that direction to try to list them all. I'm going to just talk about the 2 of the 7 that we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about the principle of as above, so below, which is kind of talking about things might seem obviously one way, but then when you look at it from a different perspective, there's always like hidden wisdom and maybe even reiterating the original idea, you know. And then what was the other one? The one that you wanted to reflect on as well?
We were going to share a little bit on duality.
Duality. Yeah. So yeah, you want to touch on that one? What?
I mean, right here we're representing it in the flesh, right? Feminine and masculine energy is a look at it. Am I correct? I wasn't brought up in the Kemetic principles. I'm actually a new initiate that just crossed over, and so this is my first Kwanzaa as part of the Tawi family village. So did I explain that correctly, or is there more to it?
I don't think that there's a better explanation than gender. I think that that's one of the, everything is kind of a dual thing. There's so much duality. So when you learn to kind of see that everything has two sides, that's part of the principle as well. You know, even going back to the masculine and feminine, seeing the masculine and feminine that each of us have within us. You know, even as a man, I am learning to be in touch with my feminine side, you know, my feminine essence.
For sure. That and another, I guess, look at duality is what we've been talking about recently within ourselves. Light coming from darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so forth. That darkness isn't necessarily a bad thing at all. It's actually very necessary. And so to be able to embrace that and then return to the light, or see the benefit and the value in the darkness as well, I think would be another example.
Absolutely. That's so necessary right now. I think one of the biggest aspects of duality is just what you just said. I think one of the reasons why we're in such a way right now where we have a hard time connecting with each other is because we don't embrace the dark side, you know, or not even necessarily embrace. We don't acknowledge that it even exists a lot of times because it just doesn't fit comfortably into our view of ourselves. You know what I mean? Or what the world told us that we're supposed to be.
Exactly. Or, I mean, if we're going to go ahead and get into it and have a conversation like we typically have, I feel like Western society capitalizes off of darkness and the fact that darkness is supposed to be bad. And if you experience one side of the spectrum of emotion or too far on the spectrums, that we can then capitalize off of that situation and medicate and all other things. So
yeah, that's interesting. I know we could. I love talking to you, Tiandra. We always just have such profound conversations, and we always like learn as we're communicating. I know that we had kind of some things that we wanted to share, and we wanted
bring
to
this
talk
back
about,
in.
yeah, we wanted to kind of talk about how we met and how some of those experiences just kind of have helped us along our journey, and some of the, how we met, the circumstances of when we met, and how it kind of plays out, and how the journey that we on kind of put us on the path for us to meet each other.
For sure. I think even before we start there, let's invite everybody in. So thank you so much for being with us tonight. Kwesi Lowe is here with me, and I am Tiandra Finch, and we're here to just, again, represent the Warriors and take our charge to dive into some of the Kemetic principles, the Nguzi Saba, and some of these questions that we were asked. And so the title of our session that you're choosing to view right now, which we're so grateful for, is As Above, So Below, through the lens of duality. And so as Kwesi shared, we are going to now answer these 6 questions that we were provided on behalf of one another and tie into that how we met. As you can see, I don't know if this is normal for most of you, probably because you're part of our community, but Kwesi and I are very much intertwined and connected on a spiritual level. And so oftentimes when one of us is experiencing something, the other one is experiencing something very similar in our journey. Mm-hmm. And so we are taking this opportunity to organically, for the first time, answer the questions on behalf of the other without prior revealing what we were going to answer, without even really thinking about it, because a lot of times we like to be led by spirit and just answer as the spirit flows through us, as opposed to being so cerebral. So you want to start with the questions?
So I'm going to start by answering the 6 questions and answering the questions for Tiandra from my perspective, right? Okay, so the first question is, who am I? So that was obviously going to be, who is Tiandra? When I look at Tiandra, who do I see? We actually had a conversation. I don't know if you remember this, but I told you that you remind me of Storm from X-Men. And like the elements, the weather, and like all life is like emotional first. Like the neocortex in the brain is the new cortex. It's the part that is the newest part of the brain, and it allows us to, reason. The oldest part of the brain is the amygdala. That's the part that responds emotionally to what's happening in the environment. And we are like in a place where we have kind of undervalued the impact of emotions, because emotions happen automatically. And while we have undervalued the impact by not acknowledging that they're automatic, we further undervalue like reactions, how people respond, So for instance, I just seen earlier today, these two young ladies, I was doing some community service. These two young ladies almost had like a fight because the one lady was too close to the other lady and she felt like her butt was in her face. So the way that the lady talked to the other lady was kind of out of pocket. And the lady that got offended was obviously having like experiencing some mental health issues. The other lady would have probably said, you might have said, she was normal. But if you would have stood back and see the way that they were talking to each other, they were both very combative, And the thing of it is I saw the initial lady's pain. She had a black eye, and she said that she got the black eye from her boyfriend. And then the other lady, who was by all, accounts healthy, belittled her. She said, before I give you another black eye, like your baby dad or something like that. So then these two women are, going at each other. So the lady that said something about the other lady's black eye was like playing the victim. She said, I didn't even do nothing. This lady's tripping and I didn't even do nothing. And I'm like, I just sat there and saw. So anyway, I say all of that to say we live in such a place where a person can maybe kill somebody or do something and then get consequences. But the initial act, the emotional thing, that the driving force of what happened gets lost in the sauce. So what you remind me of, I go say all that to say, it's like you're like the essence, it's like that thing that comes first. It's like what drives us. And so often we get disconnected from the essence, and we just think about what comes beyond that. And I just feel like you have the ability to connect with people at one of their most primal levels and just really understand them. I don't know how much all of that said in my mind, it makes sense, just seeing how people don't really connect with the essence of who they are and how they're feeling and why they're feeling it. One of the things that I've consistently seen from you is that you are looking to get to the essence, to the core of your why, of why you're feeling ways, why things are happening, and to kind of be able to use that moving forward to understand future wise, And I just think that that's something that's very relative kind of to weather, and how circumstances always bring about different weather patterns, but we can always forget. We see the rain, but then we don't necessarily know that there's like static electricity in the atmosphere that cause clouds and all these things. So it's like, and again, I feel like I'm rambling, but you just kind of, to me, just symbolize the essence that everything has an explanation. Everything can kind of, be traced back to something. Mm-hmm. And it's the essence. It's just the essence. Did that make sense at all?
Yeah, no, I received that. And I remember when you compared me to Storm, and I thought it was so cool just because of the character and the white hair. And I've been waiting to turn gray or white any day now.
Especially in these days, it's like people are searching for stuff. And I feel like you have that gift to really be able to connect with people.
No, I really appreciate that. And I think that it's like what you said. I'm open to and desiring what it does connect to. Mm-hmm. I think that something that we both do is allow ourselves to feel, because we're intentionally present and we know that it's coming from somewhere. And so I do receive that. And it's not necessarily how I would ever have answered the question, but I am grateful to hear that and to be encouraged by it.
So should I continue with the next 6? Would you like me to just, I can be way more brief with the other ones because I was just kind of painting a picture.
Well, it's up to you because we can go every other one too.
It's what, I've talked a lot, so I want to give you the floor to kind of decide where we go next.
Sure. I don't know. I think maybe you should continue because I don't want to be influenced by your answer.
Okay. So yeah, why? So the why you are here, that's a way simpler to answer. It's to heal, to help other people heal through the understanding of your own healing process. And I would imagine that I think one of the ways we connect is through a lot of pain and experiencing pain. And one of the things that I really admire about you, and one of the reasons I think we connect as well, is that I don't think there's any pain that's going to ever break you. I think if a pain great enough to break you is actually going to make you transition. You know what I'm saying? Because your mission is just that great, and you might take some time to have to recover, but you're going to get up, and that's just who you are because your purpose is stronger than any moment that could happen in this life.
Wow, and thank you, and very, very timely.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think that kind of gets at the next. Also, what is your purpose and mission? I think that kind of gets at that too. Where are you going? I think you are going right to. And with this being said, I'm going with you because it's honestly, it could be a dark and scary place. I feel like you're going right to where a lot of the hurting and pain and trauma is. Because that's where you're needed, and you've been strengthening yourself and preparing to be able to deal with some things that are going to be challenging, and you're ready, and people need you, and people are going to remember you, and where you're going is beyond this lifetime, because that's where you want to be. You're not limited to this lifetime, and that's where we want to connect what's happening in this lifetime to our future selves,
Thank you.
What do you need to get there?
And who?
I think primarily who you need is like who we all need. Primarily, we need ourselves. We need that relationship with ourselves. We live in a time, this is a transitional time to where we're going from. There's so many ways to think about it. One of the ways I was thinking earlier about the shifting of ages is from trying to please other people to being honest with ourselves. We have to be honest. Like the people pleasing days are over. This is the be honest with yourself, like 100% honest phase of human existence. You know what I mean? So yeah, you absolutely. And that's a challenge to you, to me, to anybody listening. Is we gotta shed those layers that we've put on ourselves for protection, and be gentle enough with ourselves to say, hey, I did add this layer, and maybe even this is why I added this layer. So I'm healthy from the need of adding that layer now. I don't need this layer anymore. I can throw that shit away. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we definitely need each other. We need ourselves, but we need the people that you need the people that you attract. I think a greater question than who do you need is why do you need them? And I feel like you was just kind of maybe experiencing some of those things. It's like questioning some of the relationships. And even if you don't necessarily need it long term, there was something in there for you. So what was it? So it's not necessarily who do we need, but why do we need those people that are in our life? I think that's just what was drawn to my spirit to just kind of refine that question for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the last one is, how will I know when I have gotten there? How will you know when you have gotten to the place of? I don't know how to answer that question for myself. I think in so many ways we already have, but I think when you know it, you know it. For me, I'm honestly going to answer this question for myself because that's the only way I kind of can. I feel like there's a part of myself that I still haven't fully accessed, that I don't even necessarily have access to. I don't even know why. I can't explain it, but I feel like I fall short of being my greatest version of myself, and I don't even know why. But I do have faith in my mind that one day before I transition, that I will feel what it's like to embody my greatest self. And I feel like you will as well. And at that moment, that's where we're going to be. That's where we need to be.
Yes. All right. Wow. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to answer the questions on your behalf. So, who is Kwesi? I think Kwesi is, you're one of the greatest examples and like personifications of being true to yourself. The way that we met via phone. Didn't see Kwesi at all, had never heard of his name, had never even heard his voice, anything. We get on a call for a Gye-Nyame journey with Brother Hatim leading it. I think it might have been Folks House for Grown Folks, one weekday. And I think I got on the call late too, just to jump in to get some of that village love and wisdom mining like you spoke of earlier. And I heard Kwesi answer a question and I could just hear his spirit through the phone. And I was like, what are you doing tomorrow? Are you at all open to maybe a new opportunity or a job? And so from there, connected with Kwesi, invited him out to the office, interviewed him. Of course, he was exactly who he came off of as over the phone, and asked him to join the team in the mission in serving young people in our community, which it only took Kwesi's voice and answer to one question and spirit that came through for me to be like, oh, that's somebody who I want on my team, somebody that I want to work with, somebody who I can grow with and be stretched by, and someone who's genuine and sincere about who he is in order to be in a place to serve. People that are truly servants are connected to who they are. If you're not connected, it's very hard for you to serve both the elders and the youth because they won't receive you. Point blank, period. And it's more than when I work with individuals and we're serving. I don't just want somebody who can show up on time or has the degree or all those really surface qualities that I think are given way more value than what they're due. I want someone who is who they say they are. And I believe that's who you are, Kwesi. You're someone who continues to push the envelope. You're someone whose word I trust. I've asked you political questions. I've asked you spiritual questions. I am comfortable in engaging in meaningful conversation, dialogue, interactions with you because I know that you're comfortable enough with yourself to be honest and true. And honestly, what you said earlier, it was just something that Spirit gave to you about who I may have interacted with or situations that I've been in, and no matter how far through the fire either one of us go, that we were created to come out unscathed, but we have to experience the fire. So with that said, there are individuals now that I see the warning signs, or maybe I don't see the clean and clear, like go green light, where I hesitate and I don't engage as openly as I feel comfortable engaging with you. So that's who I think you are. You're just someone who's very sincere, genuine, true to self, and who is intentionally on that quest and journey of growth, and someone who's pushing the envelope because you know who you are far exceeds what I think our current society, and as we've kind of come up through in America, who we're taught to know like is worthy. You dismiss that, and I applaud you for that. And I hope and pray that other people are as brave.
Thank you. It's interesting to know that sometimes I don't feel that I'm projecting that. I feel very sometimes I feel like there's holes in my armor and it's very visible chinks in my armor. So thank you. It's nice to hear that.
I don't think that the holes in your armor though are necessarily a bad thing, or I don't think it refutes what was shared.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I really think that the core of who you are is that you don't have to prove anything to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why are you here? Kwesi's purpose. So why are you here, and your purpose and mission? I feel like those questions really do go hand in hand. And what I feel from you is that you are here to redefine who we are and how we're viewed. And I'd definitely say that is for an African and Afrocentric people, but I think it's for people far beyond that. I think that as Black people are able to be themselves, it gives the space for others to be themselves. So I think that the more and more you continue to traverse your journey, you keep creating spaces for others to fully be themselves and be valued for what they do and what they bring. And I can give so many examples from working with you and then also watching and seeing the work that you do and hearing stories about when people recruit you. I don't know how many jobs you've actually like just walked up to and applied for. And not that our entire lives should be valued through, I guess, work, but I don't see, you do very purposeful things in your life. So the fact that you get paid for purposeful things, I think is, again, you redefining where we should be. And if it's not aligned, then don't do it. And I think that you're very strong in that.
I just want to actually take a moment to say that this was Tiandra's idea to do us, kind of answering the questions for each other. And I thank you for actually doing this, because sometimes I don't give myself enough credit, for, I feel like I should always be doing better. So, just to hear you say like, yeah, I guess I do actually. Yeah, I know people who have never gotten paid to actually do something that they care about, or maybe even never even figured out what they care about, so yeah, thank you for that reminder, just to, kind of appreciate the path that I'm on, sometimes it could be easy to forget,
For sure. I can relate. But I even feel with what you just shared, the fact that you're always striving and pushing to be better and to really actualize who you were created to be and are continually being created to be is just another example of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, where are you going? I see a greater platform, and I see you continuing to redefine. So I see you going into spaces that some might not feel as though you're qualified for, or the same person with the same worldly attributes that they would question whether or not they could do it. I think you know that you were created for such a mission that you'll be there. And again, with that, you're trailblazing to where it makes a way for other people who are sincere and gifted and led spiritually and aware and as astute and self-educated regardless of the fact that I know you have a political science degree from Ohio State University, but really, I think any institution that gets to say that you earned their degree will, in retrospect, if not already, be grateful, because they'll get to say that, hey, he's one of ours, in a way where you'll be like, if you're not Gye-Nyame or the Black community, I really don't belong to you. But I think that you'll make the different places you touch increasingly more proud because of what all you'll do. And proud and or continue to be intimidated, to be quite frank. Because that's what you embody. You embody the strength of what we know man to be and the Black man to be. And because you're so comfortable with who you are and so focused on the mission, that entities and individuals are either going to be grateful or going to continue to be intimidated. But that's on them. What and who do you need to get there? I think you've done, and the ancestors and God has really been intentional about placing certain individuals in your life. And with that, I would like to say, like, shout out to Brother Hatim and Brother Kwame, because it's those individuals who have openly and enthusiastically lived their mission that have made it more and more welcoming for other individuals to live theirs. And I feel like you come through that same legacy. And so I feel like those are the individuals, like your tribe. I think that us connecting, we don't talk often, but when we do, I think it's very refreshing on both ends. And so I would say what and who you need, that's one of them, is the tribe and the legacy that you've been surrounded with and that you've latched onto. And then I think you also, a part of your mission needs the rules, regulation, law, limitations, because you're there to dispel them and break them. And so I think that a part of what you need to continue your path is just finding out what those nuances are so you can dispel them.
I like that.
For sure. That is you all the way. You need a little fire. You need some sharp edges to be like, oh, this is here. This shouldn't be here. And then how you know you got there. You answered that question beautifully. I think there's different times in your journey where you do exhale. It's like, not that I arrived, but it's that alignment of, okay, I am on the path. And correct me if I'm wrong. So what you described, like being able prior to you transitioning to be like, I realized the full essence of who I was created to be, my excellent self. I feel like you've done that at different stages, but the thing is that you find that, and then it's like, okay, next one, and which is beautiful. You don't really bask in it, which is fine, but I think there's an opportunity to acknowledge it and then realize, okay, there is no ceiling. I'm going to continue to grow. You're constantly looking for ways to grow and be intentional about that. And so you've gotten there throughout the path, but you won't stop.
This is the question. How do I know that I have arrived?
Yep. How will you know when you've gotten there? Yep.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough one. I wrestle with that one. Just what does arrived even mean?
Right, because I don't think that it's a definite thing. I think that they're little checkpoints. But the journey never stops.
Right.
Yeah. So those were the questions.
that was good. I like that. That was, I think that's one of the things that we've honestly just gotten so far away from, is just being able to give each other honest feedback. And one of the things that occurred to me as a young person that was a very profound realization was that I am the only person that exists that will never have the possibility to look myself in the face. Everybody else can look at me. The best I can do is see a reflection of myself, a picture in a mirror, but it's literally the opposite. I can never see myself in real time and face to face. I can never really see myself like you can.
Yeah.
So it's like a humbling thing for me to know that, I am the essence of a work in progress. It's like, and the progress is life. Life is the progress. There's no like arrival type. You know what I mean?
I do.
There might be accomplishments, things to accomplish, but even in that moment, it's like you win the championship, then you want to get a back-to-back championship. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Then you want to get the record.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how about you? You want to kick it off and answer the questions for yourself?
Oh, I don't even know. I feel
Do we want to do that?
I don't even know. What do you think?
I
mean, they definitely wouldn't have been as in depth as what we did for one another, just because of who we are and the time and place in which we live. I think adds to it. But it was refreshing to hear the take.
Okay. I have an idea.
Okay.
How about we pick one and answer that one and really go in for ourselves?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You go first.
Okay. Who am I? Why am I here? What do I need to get there? I guess I kind of want to answer like my purpose and mission. I think I don't know, my purpose and mission, I've always been, I remember in 2000 and I think it was 10, maybe 9 or 10. You remember that year where it was like literally no winter? It didn't get cold. And I think it was that same year, there was like a windstorm and it knocked out the power in a lot of places.
Yeah, for sure.
That year, like that summer, I had been talking to a friend of mine a lot about just like power outages and like the possibility of, societal collapse. And now that's when that whole idea I first started to think about that type of thing. And I was talking to my friend about it and he was like, that's crazy. Like, how could there not be electricity? How could there not? That doesn't even make sense. And then like we had that conversation and maybe a couple weeks later, power went out, that storm happened.
I remember it. I know where I was.
His power got knocked out and his family had to stay in a hotel that week. And all of my neighbors' power got knocked out and mine didn't. And in that same, it was just like, And I've had moments like that so many times in my life that made me be like, it was like, I don't claim to think that I'm like able to predict the future or see the future. I'm just I wouldn't even call myself a historian. I'm fascinated by history. I don't have enough hours to call myself a historian. I'm fascinated by history and I'm fascinated by patterns, and there's a lot of things playing out that I've just seen and that lead to now, so with all of that being said, I almost feel like my purpose is to just like almost like a griot. And in the ancient, in our historical context, they would like, the griot would grow up alongside the king or the queen or the royal family. And the griot family would grow up alongside them and they would just remind them where they come from, and we have like amnesia as a people. And I feel like, and that just reminds me that we haven't even really talked too much about the as above, so below through duality, to get to where we were, what everybody's kind of talking about. I don't want to say everybody, people who are paying attention are talking about the Great Conjunction and all of these things that are happening in the sky and all of these different things. Like December 21st, there's going to be a planetary alignment that hasn't happened in 800 years. And Hatem was talking about that the other day, and it's just on a lot of people's tongues. So basically, Saturn and Jupiter are the biggest celestial bodies in the solar system, and they're going to be very close to each other and also very close to the Earth. And it's just, an anomaly. It's something that doesn't happen often. And then when we look at what's happening on Earth, we see anomalies. We see things that don't happen often. So for me, what made me think about the as above, so below was the fact that there's things going on in the sky that don't happen often. There's things going on the planet that don't happen often. And it got me thinking. Another little idea I had, I was talking about like the body, how it works, white blood cells and platelets and plasma and all of these different things happening inside your body. And they actually all have a job. So if you want to go ahead and look it up, you will see that these things that we've been calling white blood cells all of our life are actually under a microscope. They're not white. We've been taught that they're white blood cells, but what white blood cells do is they're like the hospital of your body. They heal you. And under a microscope, say it again.
I said leukocytes.
Leukocytes. There's so many different things in the blood. Like I actually challenge you to look it up. Leukocytes. All of these different things have different jobs, you know. And but there's also in the blood, there's like cancerous agents and there's diseases. And what these white blood cells and different cells do is they fight those diseases and foreign agents in a body that might attack you and make you weak and eventually make you die. So when I thought about, okay, it's called a white blood cell. It's been labeled a white blood cell, but it's not actually white. It's more like brown. It's more like purple. It's more like something that absorbs light and converts it into energy, you know. And then when we think about like what cancer cells and disease cells do, they actually attack and latch on and reprogram white blood cells and make them do different things than what they would actually do. So then when we transfer all of that, so that's the above is what's happening in the sky. The below, or a different scale, is what's happening on a cellular level. There's life, there's things happening. There's thought, there's process. It's a sophisticated process. Obviously, we know we're sophisticated. So then when we think about us, like kind of in the middle of a planetary and a cellular level, we have a job too. You know, when we think about what's happening on this planet, we out here killing each other. Black people out here killing each other. And that's not even necessarily, we suck at killing each other. We shoot each other. The actual killers have things that can kill millions of people at a time. You know what I'm saying? That's what the disease cell. So all of that, let me actually look at this question and read the question again. The question was, what is my purpose? What is my mission in life? My mission in life is to protect the planet. That's why I was put here, because the planet is my body. I live on the planet. If the planet dies, I have nowhere to exist. There is a disease on the planet, and it is running rampant, and it is trying to reprogram us so that we will kill ourselves. And you might ask why? Because diseases don't know better. The disease doesn't have a mission.
That's their mission.
It's insatiable. It's insatiable feed. And look at us. We insatiably feed. We've been latched onto. So my mission, my purpose is to get back to my mission, and my purpose is to be a healer. It's to heal myself, and by healing myself, be an example to the other cells around me, and to heal this body so that those that come through my cellular DNA will have a place to live so that life can continue. That's my purpose, is to live and to continue to create a space where life can continue.
Thank you.
I'm windy. I'm wordy. Long-winded.
No, I mean, we all learned something. That was a lot. We learned about the planetary conjunction that's happening December 21st. We learned about cells and what they look like underneath a microscope. I know there's about 2, maybe 3 other points that we wanted to hit, and I think that we can go ahead and transition that way. We wanted to talk about the signs and the Nguzasaba, and maybe how we identify and how we see that is part of who we are, and answering some of these questions.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I can start as far as the signs go, in the Nguza Saba on behalf of myself. And so I am a July 21st born Cancer, which means that I'm really close to the Leo side. And depending on your studies, some people believe in cusps, don't believe in cusps, and, you know, really look at your entire natal chart. What I identify with is being at the door of the sun and the moon. I am very much a moon child, and that's what Cancers tend to be driven by. And it's so true to me. I don't need to know that it's a full moon outside. I can tell by how my energy's aligned. Like, oh yeah, of course it's a full moon. We are full go. We are ready for everything.
There was a new moon yesterday.
What'd you say?
There was a new moon yesterday.
That makes sense. Makes sense. So all the phases of the moon, all the phases of Tiandra, I would definitely agree to that. But I tell people that I am a very aggressive Cancer, or I've gotten told that before and it really stuck. And I'm a very emotionally in tune Leo. And so that's how I identify as far as the signs go. For Nguza Saba, I am Kuji Chagalia, so self-determination. But with being Kuji Chagalia born, I also am very strong. I think that comes with being born on Kuji Chagalia is just that strength and that focus and drive. Very driven to embody all of the principles and hold them all in high regard. And so that's who I am.
I definitely peep the strength. The strength is, I don't know. It's like we all have different types of strength, but you know, that strength of the confident strength of, you know, being not necessarily having to get credit or acknowledgement, or, you know, just the ultimate strength of knowing that whatever needs to be done for the objective, you know, and the ultimate team player. I feel like sorry, I'm getting back into my my observation of you, but yeah, I absolutely see that strength. And, you know, one of the things that I've appreciated with our relationship and our interaction is, you know, being honest, some of the ways that I grew up, I wasn't always able to express myself to women, and always able to get, like, especially like emotional understanding with women. And that's something that has happened with you. You know, we've been able to talk about different things that I might not have been able to talk with other women in my life. And I really appreciate that, you know, and that's just kind of going back to the strength.
I too appreciate that. So who is Kwesi as far as the signs in Nguza Saba?
As far as signs, I'm an Aquarius. My sun sign is Aquarius. My Nguza Saba, I'm in Mani born. Actually, that's also what Kwesi means. So Kwesi is it means humanitarian. It's somebody that's connected to the people, and similar to Aquarius. Like, it's kind of interesting. A lot of my like energies overlap. You know, I was actually just looking at my natal chart to realize that I do have a lot more energy. I have a lot more water energy than I give myself credit for. I'm a very emotional person, and I like to kind of convince myself that I'm not emotional, that I'm very unemotional, but I am a very emotional person. And it's very apparent when you look at my natal charts. So, yeah.
Cool. I think we are just going to end it by just saying, you know, 2020 has been very interesting, But rather than looking at the negative aspect of it, we both talked about how it's really an opportunity for us to be intentional about how we connect when we connect. And just inviting others to be open to spiritual connection and alignment. And if someone comes across your spirit, to be open to maybe reach out and connect, because you never know how your journeys may align or complement one another.
Absolutely.
And so this was, when we were given this task, neither one of us were in a place where we were interested in being on camera and sharing with anyone outside of who we feel comfortable with. But gratefully, we were both in that same space. And so we were able to join together and encourage and empower one another that this is something too that we're going to be able to accomplish. So
yeah,
really hope that we were able to deliver. Hope that the conversation was engaging. Would love to interact with any of you all that were able to take anything away from this. So if you can,
and would love to see this kind of be a model for people to not only be open to hearing what people see when they see you, but also being able to express what you see with other people in a way that's uplifting and challenging and authentic. I think that this was a great exercise for me and Tiandra to even build on our understanding of each other.
And our understanding of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Ashe.
Ashe.
All right. Is that what we got?
I think we did it.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
Watch the next video. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. No, I'm just joking, family. Family, thank you for joining us. Be sure to catch us on the next video, family. Peace. Watch the next video. Watch.
Habargani. Ujima. I am Chuma Lumumba, can't say my own name right. Chuma Lumumba from the Conscious Mind Study Group here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we are pleased to be taking part in the statewide Kwanzaa celebration. We're also representing CPAC, the Cincinnati Pan-African Coalition, as well as Root Seasonal, who was gracious enough to host us here at the store. We're also representing the City of Cincinnati, the Citywide Kwanzaa Committee. And today we have from the Warrior class, Sister Chelsea.
Greetings.
Greetings, Queen. Greetings. How are you today?
I'm great.
All right. I want to say Asante Sana, thank you, which means thank you in Kiswahili for being here with us today, because you could be anywhere else, but today you are sharing your time, space, and energy with us. And we really appreciate that. Right? Couldn't do it without you. Could not do it without you. Not the Warrior class. We couldn't. The liberation movement would cease to exist without the Warrior class. So today, third day of Kwanzaa, we are celebrating Ujima, which means collective work and responsibility. Sister, you mind reading that principle out loud?
Yes, the third principle is Ujima, collective work and responsibility, which means to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters. Problems are problems and solve them together.
Ooh, that's powerful. And my brother's keep.
Yes. Yes.
So you want to expound on that a little bit? What does that mean to you?
To me, it means collective work and responsibility. That's kind of self-said. So basically, like, we help one another. We build one another together. We have resources. If I do something, and I know my sister or my brother do a resource, we come together as a collective and help a bigger resource. And we just build each other all together as a collective. And that is our responsibility to do that. So that's kind of my idea of it, in my opinion.
You're right. You're right. Great answer. Hey, I'm reminded, rest in peace, Babatunde Akinwole was my mentor. He would always say this about Ujima. He said, when an African stub his toe in the Congo, there should be an African somewhere here in Avondale talking about, ouch. We should be that closely linked and yoked to one another, and it should be our responsibility to develop that through collective work, right? So collective work and responsibility as we build and maintain our communities together, to make our brothers and sisters' problems our own and to solve them together. I think one of the biggest issues that we have in the Black community, especially here in North America, is that we don't embrace the notion that unless all of us is free, none of us are free. And things happen to give us the wake-up call, let you know no matter what your station in life, how much money you got, how many languages you speak, what kind of car you drive, at the end of the day, your problems is the same as mine. If you pulled over in that nice fancy car, you're gonna get the same treatment that some of our other fallen comrades have gotten. So it's gonna take an effort of collective work and responsibility for us all to rise above. So, sister, with this collective work and responsibility, do you have any specific plans on how to implement that into your daily walk?
Yes, well, of course. With my own personal business, I try to use with my vegan business and with my crystal jewelry business. I don't use them for me personally, but I use them for our community and my people, so they can be able to use the resources as well to either eat healthy or be able to self-heal themselves. So I just believe in using whatever you have personally as your passion and to collectively use it for your people and your resources, because you never know how that might help somebody else and make their life a world of difference. So that should be a responsibility to everyone to find your passion and share it with one another as a collective.
There you have it. Collective work and responsibility. It's said by Sister Chelsea. Again, I want to say thank you for something silent to you for coming out. And thank you for gracing us with those great words of wisdom. Thank you so much.
listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen. Habari gani? Hear me now, listen, hear me now, listen later, listen. Habari gani? Listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen. Habari gani? Listen, look, listen, look, listen, look. Moja kuchi chakulia Ujima, Ujama, Nia kuumpa emali, Kwanzaa. Moja kuchi chakulia Ujima, Ujama, Nia kuumpa emali, Kwanzaa. Listen, look. Listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen, look. Moja unity. Listen, look, listen, look, listen, look. Chakulia, self-determination. Listen, look, listen, Ujima, listen, look, listen, look, listen, look. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kumba, creativity. Imani, faith. Money, moja kuchi chakulia. Ujima, Ujama, Nia kuumpa imani. Kwanzaa. Moja kuchi chakulia Ujima, Ujama, Nia kuumpa imani. Kwanzaa. Listen, look. Do your African dance is your part? Do your African dance is your part? Do your African dance is your part? Genetics, dance your part. Genetics, dance your part. DNA, is your part. Habari gani? Listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen. Habari gani? Hear me now, listen, hear me now, listen later, listen. Habari gani? Listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen. Habari gani? Listen, look, listen, look, listen. Moja kuchi chakulia Ujima, Ujama, Nia kuumpa imani. Kwanzaa. Moja kuchi chakulia Ujima, Ujama, Nia kuumpa imani. Kwanzaa. Listen, look.
Yo, if you didn't know, now you know. Once I got 7 principles, we live by the code. Unite all the sisters and my bros. We got power in our soul, professional. When I put the beat with the flow, I got water on the low, drip for the cool. Winter in the 614, red, black, and green candles. Lit.
Moja kuchi chakulia Ujima, Ujama, Nia kuumpa imani. Kwanzaa. Moja kuchi chakulia Ujima, Ujama, Nia kuumpa imani. Kwanzaa. Listen, look. Listen, look, listen, look, listen, look, listen, look. Moja unity. Listen, look, listen, look, listen, look. Chakulia, self-determination. Listen, look, listen. Ujima, listen, look, listen, look, listen, look. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kumba, creativity. Imani, faith. Money, faith.
Habari gani? Nzuri sana. 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 Habari